Hey guys, welcome. Welcome aboard if you're brand new. Welcome back if you're not. And as always, welcome home if that fits perfectly for you. Today we want to talk about what's up. This is the week of the 21st through the 27th of April, 2025. Here's my recommendation. Let's get right into it because it is, it's a week, right? We start with an Aquarius moon. That Aquarius moon is going to conjunct Pluto and sextile Mercury, both in the wee hours. Like this is not even 2 whole hours into the day, Central Time. So here's the deal. Today, on Monday, make sure that you are throwing your line in as deeply as possible. This is a day to kind of set up the week in terms of the way that what follows needs an anchor point, right? And so if you can provide that anchor point on Monday, you'll be in business. So just pay attention, right? Make sure that you're anchored. Make sure that you are committed to your own evolution. Lead with compassion when it comes to yourself, right? Don't be stubborn when it comes to giving yourself grace, and be open to all the ways that you can add room for more. Listen to what I'm saying. Pleasure and enjoyment in your existence, okay? Remember, pleasure and enjoyment are perspectives. Struggle is a perspective, right? How it shows up in your reality, that, my friends, is up to you. So pay attention. On Tuesday, the 22nd, that Aquarius moon is going to trine Jupiter, sextile Chiron, and square Uranus. This is a day where we are reminded that expansion can be, again, comfortable and easy if you're open to that. So resist any urge to contract, to pull back, or definitely to fall into any outdated patterns. You moved away from them for a reason, right? Allow them to be part of your history, not part of your present, right? Tuesday is one of those days where it might feel like we're in that choose your own adventure kind of moment. And the choice is to choose ease or resistance, right? So just choose wisely and understand that ease and resistance are two expressions of an infinity of choices. All right. Um, there is a black cat outside my window. If that is a message to you, please take it as such. She is my neighborhood stray, and she's hopping around in my backyard right now. So if you have a familiar, take it as a message. On Wednesday, the moon moves into Pisces 7 minutes into the day. And that Pisces moon is going to quincunx Mars, sextile the sun, and then the Taurus sun squares Pluto at noontime. Okay. Oh, that moon in Pisces, pay attention, right? It might reactivate some, I want to call it distractibility, or some avoidant tendencies that you may have moved through in the past. Here's the deal. If you can choose to step in, right? Step into your power, step into your self, step into your true nature as a divinely created creator, right? You might be surprised how quickly the universe shows up, right? To provide assistance for you, to provide reinforcement, to provide support, to act as a buffer, to give you what you need, right? If you claim it, the universe is going to show up to hold that space for you, right? We live in a universe that absolutely will trip over itself to give you what it is that you need. So the ways that you are feeling scarcity, the ways that you are feeling lack in any way, explore them, right? And refuse to just accept old patterns. Absolutely refuse. On Thursday, the 24th, the moon starts out in Pisces and it squares Jupiter. And then Venus and Saturn Venus in Pisces conjunct Saturn in Pisces. And then that beautiful Pisces moon is going to sextile Uranus and then conjunct both Saturn and Venus. Within 3 minutes of one another, right? I mean, come on, what an exciting day. Woo! Remember on Thursday that you are always your own limitation, right? Thursday might show up to prove you right or wrong. So again, pay attention. Your 3D life and the way that you allow it to unfold is really in the spotlight, especially on Thursday. Honestly, this whole week, but especially on Thursday. So here's the deal. Choose habits and boundaries that absolutely support where you are choosing to create through your own kind of divine connectivity, right? We're talking about Saturn and Venus. So this is the way that you set your boundaries. This is the way that you create your expectation of what you will allow for yourself, right? You can't expect anybody else to show up for you, but you certainly can expect you to show up for you. So remember that how you feel and the depth of your commitment to those beliefs will absolutely steer. So make sure that you are devoted, right? This is an important word for this Saturn Venus cycle. Devoted, especially with this Pisces energy. Devotion, right? If you can fall in love with what you're doing, it's going to be ever so much easier to maintain and sustain. On Friday, the 25th, the moon moves into Aries overnight. And that Aries moon will conjunct Neptune, will trine Mars, will sextile Pluto, and conjunct Mercury. Here's the deal. This is a moon in Aries. Take your foot off of the gas, okay? Take your foot off of the gas. Friday is a day for breathing and for coasting and for being in flow. Ooh, yummy. If you pay attention, if you slow your roll long enough to look around, you will find that the entirety of your experience has embedded within it the capacity for all of your soothing and comforting mechanisms, right? All the ones that you need. Choose to enable them because it's important. It's important, especially on Friday. Well, it's important over the weekend, but start on Friday, right? Find those places and kind of turn up the volume in all of those ways. It's going to be very important as you move through this weekend, which leads me to Saturday. Saturday the 26th, that Aries moon is going to sextile Jupiter, conjunct Chiron, and then Mars in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius. 8:05 p.m., right? Central Time. On Saturday, listen, this day is all about being here and now, right? This is the third and final, hallelujah, in our series of Mars-Pluto oppositions, right? And it perfects on the 26th, Saturday evening. The surrounding energy, absolutely. The nice way to say it is asks, invites, right? But really, let's say demands. It requires that you stay present. Mars opposing Pluto is a volatile energy, right? I am not going to go so far as many other astrologers and say dangerous. I disagree with that. It is volatile, right? There's a difference. Um, Volatile reminds you that you're the one holding the lighter, right? If you don't spark it, the fuse doesn't get lit. I am a big proponent to say it takes two people to play tug of war. If you don't pick up the rope, there's no game, right? This is what I'm saying to you when we get to the third in the series of Mars Pluto oppositions. The surrounding energy requires that you stay present. Remember that your own power of balancing and redirecting yourself back to now and now and now is the thing that creates your personal zero point for your own personal evolution. Now, here's the deal. I know we're talking about Pluto and Aquarius, but we're also talking about Mars and Leo, right? This is the way you choose to operate. You choose to move. You choose to act. You get to make those decisions. And if you're sitting there playing with the lighter, that's on you, right? That's on you. Let me put it this way, right? Where you're focusing your attention is important. And so if you're looking to choose yeah choose the way that you're going to mind things, right, where you're going to put your attention, you might consider minding the mirror, right, as opposed to the screens, whether screens on your TV or computer or your phone, right. Mind the mirror, not the screens. And remember that when you turn that screen off, it's a mirror, okay? um, you are either driving or you're being driven. So choose wisely what you are giving your energy to for this whole weekend, but especially on Saturday. Well, you know what? For the whole weekend. For the whole weekend. It is a critical, kind of pivotal kind of weekend. So don't mess around. Be present. And on Sunday, on Sunday, sorry, on Sunday, the moon moves into Taurus, right, overnight again. And that Taurus moon squares Pluto and Mars, of course. And then at 2:31 p.m. Central Time, that moon conjuncts the sun. And we get a new moon at 7 degrees of Taurus. Now, here's the deal. That moon moves into Taurus, and then the energy absolutely changes very palpably, right? This is Aries energy to Taurus energy, fire to earth, right? Absolutely. And it requires you to move with it. So if you carry that Aries volatility into this new moon, you're kind of defeating your own purpose. That 7-degree Taurus new moon squares up to that Pluto Mars opposition. So here's the deal. Check yourself in regard to the ways that you are accepting any ideas that life is a power struggle. Do some deep diving into anything that you witness as kind of a cult of personality theme in your life. And by that, I mean whether it's your personality or someone else's. And very intentionally begin to scrutinize, let's call it that way, scrutinize your own beliefs when it comes to values, right? And I'm talking small v and capital V there. Your values, what you value, tangible things, and what you value, intangible things. Also, scrutinize your beliefs as they relate to worth, right? Small w, what is that thing worth? And then what is this worth, capital W, to me, right? Because here's the deal. Add those lenses that remind you that we're not only looking for tangible, quantifiable sorts of measurability, right? immeasurable and intangible are often more important than their touchable, holdable, graspable counterparts. Um, and the fact is, those things that cannot be seen or quantified create the things that can, right? Um, so just pay attention. Pay attention to the things that you can't see, right? What is the, oh, there we go. What's the little phrase? Work just as hard in the ethereal as you do in the real, right? Absolutely. Absolutely. Shall we? Let's have a conversation. On Monday, we have the Five of Cups and the Three of Wands. This is a beautiful pairing, right? Five of Cups is about where your attention is. And the Three of Wands reminds you that your long term is created by your emotional state. We talked about this as really working as deeply as possible, making sure that you're anchored and committed to your own evolution. So, how do you do that? You have to show up, right? You have to open to all those ways where pleasure and enjoyment can come to you instead of being so fixated on the fact that, this happened in the past, that happened before, that happened to me once. And you're ignoring all of the blessings that are sitting there waiting to be unloaded or upturned for you because you're so focused on what happened over there, what happened back then, what happened before, that you're not paying attention to the here and now because that's the only access point you have to create in the moment, right? It's not about long term planning, it's about what you're doing right now, right? That's what's creating your future. So if your mind is on these spilled cups, instead of these ones that are sitting right here, that are full right next to you in your hand, what are you calling in? Pay attention. It matters. Look at that. On Tuesday, we have the Magician and the King of Swords. Lovely. So, this is about creation. We're talking about the way that expansion can be easy and effortless if you're open to that, right? The King of Swords reminds you that these ideas are critical, and that's the way that you are a creator. Um, we talked about this as that day where we're choosing your own adventure. Every day you're choosing your own adventure. This is a day where you get a lesson point in it. So if you're resisting the urge to contract, to come back, to lean only on one side of your brain, right, to fall back into logic, or that can't be possible, anything like that. Oh, this has always happened in the past. Well, if that's your MO, and you're just looking at what has happened, what has happened, what has happened as a predictor of future outcome, you're absolutely denying your point of power in the present again, right? So choose wisely. Again, it matters, right? It matters. On Wednesday, Judgment, Six of Wands. So this is the way that we're going to move forward, right? That moon moves into Pisces, activating your intuitive centers, really allowing you to move, right? Judgment ultimately is a card of movement. What am I going to carry forth? Am I going to claim my power? Am I going to claim myself? Am I going to claim my nature? Absolutely. Why? Why wouldn't I? Right? Why wouldn't I? And then again, witnessing how quickly the whole universe shows up in support once you have made that decision and that agreement with the universe at large to become that divine source of creation, right? It's all up to you. Now, this is very similar, right? So on Thursday, we have Temperance and the Ace of Cups. What I love, right, is that Temperance is always, this beautiful Aquarian energy pouring out this water, um, activating synthesis, right? So we have this overabundance of water energy here, talking about where we are our own limitation, specifically on Thursday, giving the opportunity to show you as right or wrong, making sure that the way that you are paying attention and allowing your life to unfold is by choosing those habits and boundaries that are supporting where you're choosing to create through your own divine connectivity. Now, here's the deal, this is a gift, right? All aces are gifts from the universe. Here you go. This also, same thing, gift. This activates your innate capacity to utilize your experience and your information to create with this source energy, right? Um, how you are feeling that depth. Again, commitment, right? We're looking to create from devotion. What better way to do that than to have this absolutely brilliant universe pouring forth for you, right? What do you do with that? Well, guess what? That's up to you. You're going to create as deeply and widely or as narrowly and rigidly as you are agreeing to. So, why wouldn't you agree to create the best, the grandest, the most wonderful? Why would you hook into these old stories or these stories of someone else? Let's keep going because it gets better. So, we have the Two of Wands, right? Paired up here with this Three of Wands. The Two of Wands and the Queen of Wands, right? So we have a lot of wand energy in these pairings this week. So this is asking us to really be in alignment with our passions, with our purpose, right? With our sense of what gets us up out of the bed every morning, why we put our feet on the ground, why we choose to be in motion. So on Friday, look at here, take your foot off the gas. Two, this is about deciding, right? Two of Wands says, I have to make the best decision. I have to make the highest decision for myself, right? I'm going to breathe. I know how to do that. I'm going to coast. I'm going to trust the flow, right? If it's a heck yes, I'm leaning in. If it's a no thank you, I'm okay putting my foot off the gas. And remember that we talked about to really, really witness the way that you have embedded in your being your capacity for soothing and comforting, right? Queen of Wands has that capacity. So allow it, and choose to enable those mechanisms in your awareness because it matters. And you have access to it, right? You have full access to it. So slow your roll. Now, you got a divine pair here, right? King and Queen, and paired with the Ace of Pentacles. So, more gift from the universe, more gift, right? This is that third and final opposition of Mars and Pluto. Okay. So, we have the King of Wands and we have the Ace of Pentacles. We have new opportunities, right? Looking at staying present. King of Wands, this is an energy that absolutely knows how to hold his passions in check because he understands that there's an opportune moment and there is an inopportune moment. Sorry, I had to reach for that one. There is a right time and a wrong time. There is a moment where it's ripe for action, and then there's a moment where things are not. And the King of Wands knows this and he understands how to balance, how to redirect himself into the now. Is this a heck yes? Okay, if so, then I'm acting. If it's not, then I'm okay to let the opportunity wait. Usually I say, no, no, no. Aces are opportunities to act and you can't put them in your pocket. That's true. But what you're learning right now is about the opportunity itself, right? That the opportunity is always there. And you must know how to use your discernment instead of just being led by your impulse, right? So we have an Aries moon that is sextiling Jupiter and conjuncting Chiron. None of those old patterns matter because there's always a new opportunity. This is about how you're looking at the mirror, not your screen. This is about the way you're choosing your journey, not someone else's. You're not carrying other people's baggage, right? You're not agreeing to a system, a structure, a concept because someone taught it to you. There's always a new one, right? And the king knows I don't need to carry these old things. So you are either driving or you're being driven. There's really no in between. Pay attention. Listen up. New moon. 5 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands. I honestly can't find a better one for this new moon energy. We talked about this as that new moon that's T-squaring the Mars-Pluto opposition. Okay. Are you looking out there for your reasons? Are you looking out there for your purposes? Are you looking out there for your awareness of value and worth? We're talking about pentacles here. This is Taurus energy, right? This is earth energy. What are you doing to tend those things, right? Where have you picked up things that don't belong to you? And are you willing to allow the universe to reconsume them for you? Creating space for all of the things that are coming in. This is a week that is ripe with opportunity to simply open your hand and release a thing. The key here is that you have to figure out that you're holding on to it first, which sounds so easy, but it's not, right? We open with the 5 of Cups. We close this week with the 5 of Pentacles and the 9 of Wands. What are you hanging on to that has no more purpose? What are you attached to that isn't of value to you anymore? What are you dragging along behind you that no longer has worth, right? Whether this is old beliefs, old habits, clutter in your closet, whether it's stuff that you just haven't cleaned out of your fridge, whether it's old baggage, whether it's just crap in your attic, whether it's trash in the floor of your car. What are you allowing in your arena that isn't working for you? Is life a struggle, right? Are you holding on to this idea that it has to be hard? If you are, how can you release that? The answer is just make room. There's plenty of new stuff that's trying to come in. Remembering that it's all energy might help, right? Everything is energy, including you. What you choose to activate in your field is what is activated in your field. What you choose to include in your field is included in your field. What you choose to release from your field is released from your field, right? You're in control of those layers. You're in control of those veils. You're in control of those lenses. It's all about you and what you're creating from and through and with and as, right? Listen. Oh, what? Look at that. We have 2. Doggone. Well, how lovely is it that we have create and heal, right? A spider and a frog. Okay, let's read them both. Hold on, I gotta find them. Okay, we'll read the spider first because he showed up first. They're in alphabetical order. There we go. Okay, the spider. This card represents creativity and weaving one's imagination into being, right? Pisces moon, all this Pisces energy. Venus and Saturn in Pisces. Pay attention. All, by the way, activating both Mars and Pluto by sextile and trine, okay? By weaving our individual stories into words, music, dance, art, and any creation of our own making, we craft a web for ourselves and for others to view. The spider card urges you to use your creativity and vision to explore your inner self and express it honestly. Oh, Druids believe that a spider is a weaver of the written word. The Druid Ogham alphabet, with its crossed lines, may be found in the web of a spider. The web may be seen as interconnecting stories or pathways from the past to the future. We talked about this timeline work, right? Many cultures see the spider as a weaver of fate and fortune. Um, yeah. Everywhere that we talk about Venus and Saturn, by the way, we also have to talk about the activation of the nodes this week. This is a week of destiny, okay? Anyway, um, the web may be seen as interconnecting stories and pathways or a woven spiral from the past to the future. The spider card may be a message to create your own destiny. Yes, 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 absolutely. In West African and Caribbean folklore, Anansi is a spider with a human face who represents creativity, stories, cunning, and wit, largely formed from the oral traditions. Stories containing Anansi were passed from West Africa to the Caribbean islands during the transatlantic slave trade. Anansi's ability to outwit his oppressors and gain the upper hand made him a powerful symbol of slave resistance. The spider may symbolize the power of words and stories in fighting injustice. Um, Listen, we talked about this as really controlling your story um, by focusing on the here and the now. So every time you get embroiled or enmeshed or embedded in something that you don't think belongs to you, ask yourself why you're resisting it in the first place, right? Okay, here's our froggy. Healing, heal. This card represents healing and restoration. The frog, like many creatures, including cats, ravens, goats, and pigs, was often associated with witchcraft in European superstition. Frogs were reportedly used as ingredients in spells for curing illness, ridding the skin of warts, and even curing a broken heart. This association with healing may have stemmed from lore that linked the frog with death and rebirth due to their transformation from a tiny water-based tadpole to their adult form. The frog is one of the frog card is one of physical and mental healing. Healing can seem like a long and arduous process, but this card is of hope and recuperation, right? We see this in these majors here, really requiring you to be the active participant, right? It doesn't matter how long it takes you to heal, it only matters that you do. And you do that by choosing now and now and now and now and now, by linking into your divine self and activating from there, right? That's how you heal, really. You just pull all of your parts into the now, and all of the stuff in the past and all of the anxiety of the future is not at play, right? Okay, in ancient Egypt, the frog was a symbol of childbirth, fertility, and procreation. The frog card might reference an upcoming birth, adoption, or addition to the family, or it may indicate the birth of an idea. Absolutely, right? We've got it all over. Um, a life changing project or creation of the mind or spirit. Well, I mean, we talked about it, right? We did. We got into all of those things. We are talking about creation. We are talking about healing. These are devoted processes, right? This is your devotion. Devote yourself to your healing. Devote yourself to your creation. They are the same, right? When you're healing, what you're doing is creating the new you because you're crafting you instead of assuming or assimilating or adopting the you that someone else feels like you should be. There's no need to do that, not unless you want to, right? Um, there's a lot of power available in this week. I'm sorry for my neighbor mowing the lawn, but thank goodness we're done. So again, this is about you. This is about your devotion to your process. And so I wish you nothing but the best. This is a beautiful Taurus new moon. Don't let anybody scare you, right? Again, we talked about this energy as being volatile, but it doesn't have to be explosive because you're holding the lighter. So choose wisely, breathe, and claim your power, right? Claim your power. There's no need to use force if you use your power, okay? Ta-da! Anyway, have a great week, guys. I will see you next time. Until then, take care and be blessed.